On a desolate stretch of highway, deep within a dense forest, Mandy's car sputtered and died. The engine's soft hum turned into a disheartening silence, and the only illumination came from the moon's eerie glow filtering through the towering trees. She cursed her bad luck, realizing that she was in the middle of nowhere with no cell signal. Mandy had been driving for hours, trying to reach a remote cabin where she planned to spend the weekend in solitude. She had looked forward to escaping the stress of her daily life, but now, stranded in the darkness, her excitement had turned into anxiety. She tried to restart the car, but it refused to respond. Frustration welled up within her as she pounded the steering wheel. She considered walking back to the nearest town, but the forest seemed impenetrable, and she had no idea how far she was from civilization. With no other option, she decided to spend the night in the car and seek help in the morning. She reclined the seat as far as it would go and closed her eyes, hoping to find some rest. The forest was eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. But her uneasy sleep was short-lived. In the middle of the night, she was awakened by a tapping sound on the window. Her heart raced as she sat up, scanning the darkness outside. Moonlight revealed nothing but the dense forest. Thinking it might be an animal, she tried to dismiss it and reclined her seat once more. Just as she was about to close her eyes, the tapping returned, louder this time. It was rhythmic, deliberate, and unmistakably human. Fear gripped her as she turned to look out the window again. This time she saw a shadowy figure standing just beyond the car's headlights. The stranger's face was obscured by the darkness, but their presence was chilling. Mandy's voice trembled as she called out, "Who's there?" No response came, only the figure drawing closer, its footsteps soft on the gravel. Panic surged through her veins and she scrambled to find her phone. But it was nowhere to be found. She must have left it in the cabin's kitchen before she set off on her ill-fated journey. The stranger reached the car's driver's side window and tapped on it again. This time, Mandy saw a glint of metal in their hand, a long, gleaming knife. Terror paralyzed her as she realized the danger she was in. With a sudden, frenzied burst of adrenaline, she decided to make a run for it. She unlocked the car and bolted out of the passenger side door. The figure, caught off guard by her sudden movement, lunged toward her, but she was already sprinting into the woods. Branches scraped at her arms and thorns dug into her skin as she ran blindly through the dark forest. She could hear the stranger pursuing her, their footsteps getting closer with each passing moment. Fear and desperation fueled her, and she pushed herself to run faster. As she ran, she stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin hidden among the trees. She burst through the door and slammed it shut, using all her strength to secure it. Her heart pounded in her chest as she searched for something, anything, to defend herself. The cabin was a macabre tableau of decay, its walls adorned with faded, unsettling paintings and rotting furniture scattered about. Mandy grabbed a rusted fire poker, her knuckles white as she held it in trembling hands. Outside, the strangers circled the cabin, their footsteps like whispers in the night. They seemed to taunt her, whispering her name in a low, sinister tone. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she clutched the fire poker, ready to defend herself at all costs. Hours passed, and the forest fell silent once more. The stranger's presence seemed to have vanished, but Mandy remained trapped in the decaying cabin, her fear a constant companion. She knew she couldn't stay there forever. At dawn, she cautiously ventured outside, the fire poker still in hand. The forest seemed different in the pale light of morning, less menacing, but the stranger was nowhere to be seen. With the first rays of sunlight, she found her way back to the highway and flagged down a passing car, finally getting the help she needed. The police were called, and an investigation was launched, but the stranger was never found. Mandy's car was eventually towed, and she returned to her daily life, forever haunted by the terror of that night in the woods. She learned a harsh lesson about the perils of the unknown, and the darkness that could lurk just beyond the headlights on a desolate highway.